Welcome back, everybody. We're doing great. Today we're going to be covering the next chapter in our series for Builder's Guide to Accounting, which is chapter 19. And this chapter does have some pretty important information, so I definitely recommend you spend a little bit of time, maybe a little extra time, reviewing this chapter and reading all the information in here, because there will be some things from this chapter that you will see on your test. Okay. Chapter 19 is on page 225, and it is called Accounting for Estimates. Any builder who controls job expenses and costs will have a higher success ratio than one who doesn't. Even in a small struggling operation, controls aren't difficult if the books and records are informative and let the builder make detailed comparisons. So you're getting a little overview of what this chapter is. I don't have it highlighted here, but I just wanted to read that off so you understand. So we're going to skip to page 227, and here we're going to be talking about the estimate. Once you develop a job schedule based on the specs, plans, and your familiarity with the building requirements, you can begin to estimate the costs. A consistent, well-organized approach is the most likely to succeed. All right. So I just wanted to read that first few sentences. But in reality, you really should focus on everything in this section. I think that the estimate, this section right here, is very, very important. The estimate for each part of the job is made up of various components. These may include materials, labor, subcontracts, equipment use and rental, other selling expenses, in detail, fixed overhead, profit. I'm sure you've seen some of these topics already, and they have been covered, but here they're letting you know how they pertain to the estimate. All right, so it's very important because this may be a question. They may ask you on the test a question about the estimate and what are some of the components of the estimate. So here you have, right on page 227, they are listed. So be able to find these on the exam if you have to. Okay. Next, this is actually very important, and I know that you're going to get this on the test because I had a couple of questions. This is yet another one of those math equations. I'm not going to get into it in detail, but I will read this section because I think this is very, very important. The hourly wage you pay for labor isn't your hourly cost per worker, of course. You must also include payroll taxes, insurance, and employer paid union benefits as well. So they're talking about how much an employee actually costs the company. They may ask you to put together the true cost of an employee, and a lot of people, when they just look at labor, they think labor $20 per hour, and that's all there's to it. But there is definitely not all there is to it, because as you can see here, they're talking about labor, liability insurance, social security, FICA, unemployment insurance, federal, union benefits, pension, vacation, workers' compensation insurance. So there's a lot of costs involved in having an employee. So you must be able to calculate all of those costs and how much an employee is actually worth. Here they're giving you an example. They're giving you all of these numbers, and they've essentially put everything together. So you have an employee who's at a rate of $20 per hour, but according to the numbers that you have here, he or she actually costs you $26.99 per hour. So it's very, very important that you understand that you need to tabulate all of these costs along with the hourly rate of the employee in order to know how much that employee is costing you. So this works out to $26.99 per hour, not simply the base rate of $20 per hour. These percentages are approximate, but taxes, insurance, and benefits will add about 1/3 to your costs. Very important line right here. Will add about 1/3 to your costs. Make sure you understand that. Review your recent payroll analysis to estimate the hours required to do each phase of the work. Estimate the hours required in the greatest detail possible. The more detailed your analysis, the more accurate your direct labor estimate is likely to be. Okay? This section, make sure you can find this on page 228. This will come up on your exam. Next, we're talking about equipment costs. Control equipment costs with good scheduling to minimize idle time. Important line. Allocating fixed overhead, we're at the bottom of the page. Most fixed overhead expenses vary with the cost of labor, either as a result of labor-related factors or for the same reasons that labor varies. Most important, direct labor can be identified easily by the job. All right. So over here on page 229, they're giving you a lot of, it may at first look like a very intimidating page with with division and formulas, but it's actually quite simple. This is not that difficult to understand. They're talking about annualized labor equals total labor divided by months to complete by 12, all right? So here, calculate this job's percentage of total annual labor by dividing the job's annualized labor costs by the company's total number labor costs. So these formulas know where they are. If they're talking about annualized labor with respect to estimating, this is where that information is, okay? So you have a couple of formulas here. Make sure that you can find them. See, annualized labor divided by company's total labor equals this contract's percentage of total labor. It is not intimidating. I don't want to spend a lot of time doing basic math. Just know where you can find these formulas on the exam if that arises, okay? So let's keep going. On page 231, I believe this is the last section, the last part of the chapter. Cost overruns should be stopped as they begin to occur. Looking back at a problem doesn't solve it. Successful builders control their costs during each phase of the work. Kind of, an informative little tidbit, but I think it's important for you to know. And that's pretty much it for this chapter. Like I said, it's not a huge chapter, but there are a couple of things in this chapter that will come up on your test. How many math questions you're going to get, I don't know. But I know that I had these on my exam, so it's highly probable that you will have these in your exam as well. All right. As always, there's some test questions. Here we have on page 232. Make sure that you do these. It's not going to take a lot of time. And if you read the chapter and understand the material, these should be very, very easy for you to answer. That's about it. As always, I appreciate you watching. And if you have any questions, please let me know in the comments. Otherwise, I will see you in the next video, and thank you for watching.